All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Smashcenter, episode 38. We're getting close to 40. We're 2 away, even closer to 50. It is September 20th to 22nd that we're reviewing this past weekend. Wow, it's almost October, which means it's almost Halloween, which means it's almost Thanksgiving, which is almost New Year's. It's almost over. But yeah, we have a great show lined up for you today. Again, if you're joining us for the first time, my name is Suar, and this is Smashcenter, brought to you by PG Stats and Panda Global. We're going to be talking about a couple topics today, going over this really big deal tournament that you might have heard of this past weekend, which is Mainstage 2019, S-tier event for the PGRU second season. And we're also going to be talking about some other stuff as well, such as the state of Smash content. If it's your first time here, this is live on Twitch right now. You're in the chat spamming us. We either choose to ignore it or we read it. Otherwise, this is on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify, those latter ones being, of course, audio only, and so you can enjoy the show on those platforms in case you missed the live showing. So, we're going to just jump right into it. We have a couple things that we wanted to talk about up front, so we're going to get into that. Coney joins us on the show. But first, yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're viewing on YouTube so you get the latest updates in Smash coverage, tournament recaps, and more. Controversies are something we talk about probably every episode, at least implicitly or explicitly. So in any case, welcome to the show. We're going to get Coney now. But yeah, we're now in the final weeks of September. I personally can't believe it. Coney comes to us now, though. Coney, how's everything treating you?
Hi, everybody. Everything's good. I'm very tired, so I was up. So I wake up at 7 for work. I was up until 4 a.m. playing Super Metroid so I could beat it. That game is very frustrating. I love all the games that it inspired, but Super Metroid, good God, what a slog. But now I can finally say I beat it, and I never have to play it again. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, nostalgia games. I saw that you were talking about it on Twitter.
It's weird, bro. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't quite work out like it used to. It doesn't hit the same.
It's a weird thing, because, like, a lot of people on that thing said it's just nostalgia, but, like, I'm not a sentimental guy. It's not like I'm going and playing these games, I'm like, oh, I don't make them like they're used to. I'm not that. I'm playing it, and I'm, like, trying to look at it from, like, you know, as dead on as I can. But then people did make a good point, is that I'm playing stuff that ultimately shaped my tastes, so even if I'm not actively nostalgic for it, it's still something. It's like a fundamental building block of what I expect games to be. You feel me? So Anyway, yeah, Super Metroid sucks.
Okay, well, starting out with the hot takes. We're not even that part. We're not even at that part of the show yet. Yeah, I think I tried that with Half-Life 2 a couple years back. It holds up.
Bro, that game is awful!
It holds up, but then it's like, oof, this was not pretty.
That's a tech demo, dude. It's not a game, it's a tech demo. Half-Life 2 sucks.
Oh, man. It's the makings of what influenced a lot of different games later, but yes, it is kind of bare bones. But anyways, Half-Life 2 is probably older than some people in this chat, so welcome. Smashcenter is now kicking off with the 38th episode. We're going to start by talking about Mainstage 2019, the tournament that occurred in Ontario, California, not Ontario, Canada. And kind of a special event because it was brought to us by BTS, which is the Beyond the Summit, headed by Slime and the crew. They bring us all the summits for Melee. They did the first summit for Ultimate. And now this is their first major. So we saw... just saw you eating. We saw a lot of talent at the event. It was an S tier. It was 273 people that participated, and it was very top heavy. As soon as we confirmed that it was S tier online, of course, not forgetting Glitchgate, we got a lot of, are you sure? Are you going to cancel during Grand Finals? And we didn't. We didn't have to because no one dropped out, / we didn't miss the mark. So S tier event, Nairo takes it all. I was very, very happy to see Nairo finally take one of these, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. During one of the sets at Glitch, I said this, and forgive me if I'm repeating myself if you guys have heard it, but I feel like for the longest time, Nairo has been sort of levied with a lot of criticism of, you know, not as good as he used to be and hasn't found his character, blah, blah, blah. But during Glitch specifically, and then during parts of Mainstage, I don't know if something in particular happened, but Palutena doesn't look like a normal Palutena anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like Nairo is finally sort of has his water wings off, and he's just thriving. He's moving faster. I think he's doing less in terms of just giving up ledge with explosive flame and auto reticle. So now he's actually pushing the advantage. I think as people have gotten better against Palutena, they're more cognizant of her sort of ranged ability, so it's not as easy to get follow-ups on that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I feel like he's just sort of playing his game more. He's playing it better, and seeing him come alive with a character. I don't know. I just feel like watching him play now as opposed to watching him play a month, 2 months ago, it's like it's a different thing. So seeing him beat Leo in finals was a huge deal. Seeing him get super far in the bracket beyond that was awesome to see. It's always good to have another guy win, the big one, show that the game isn't just totally conquered by one person. I know a lot of people were scared after Evo into SmashCon, but I think the game's super healthy, and I think Nairo is a great sort of he's a great asset in a lot of different ways to Ultimate. So I'm really glad to see him win.
I mean, he definitely is part of that formula, at least in the one that started Smash 4 hype top 8s, which was you need a Nairo on top 8, unknown Japanese player on loser side playing a random character we haven't seen before, aka Lucario, aka Duck Hunt. Zero, at least in losers, and not placing above 4th. And throw in a couple like Mars's, Tweaks, and Leo's in there. And now,
to buzz out at 5th. That's the
to buzz out at 9th, honestly. Sorry to say, no shots at the buzz. I mean, it's the people; it's what they want. And for cases like this, Nairo is pretty much a crowd favorite at all times. Ironically, with characters like Palutena, which all of Tri-State has now condemned repeatedly over and over. Also, one of the only top PGR players to do it, Palutena, which is crazy. We saw a lot of people pick her up, a lot of people shift her around. We did have the Buzz user here and there. He's pretty much stuck to the Rosalina and the Olimar. And what's interesting, as you see in this VOD, and as he almost just lost, but great DI, Nairo's now opting more Zero Suit, which is nice to see for a couple of reasons. One, character he made his name in Smash 4 in, obviously comes to us from Brawl with Meta Knight. But two, it's something now that gives us more to think about when looking at Mars. Mars and Light pretty much took off with their characters and nobody else did. Larry and Nairo sort of stayed behind. Larry doing more with Falco and Wolf. Nairo obviously doing more with Palutena. But now we're seeing, okay, we got another Zero Suit in the mix, which is great. Apart from that, though, I think that the game, again, has proved in another tournament, in another setting, that it is healthy. Looking at the top 8 graphic here in a sec, no characters are even repeating, really. We have Palutena taking first, Joker Lucina from Leo, Mega Man, which Mars has been sporting to everyone's dismay, jokes. And of course the Zero Suit. Light sticking just with Fox, man. I don't understand. T with the Pac-Man, Void hitting us with the Pichu post-patch, and now a Sheik more often, which is interesting. Nairo opting more for Zero Suit. Maybe not more, but just in general, showing her and getting games with her. Similarly to Buzz with Rosalina, looking at these past blondies that got nerfed, making their comeback. And then Mutace with a Peach, a different Peach in top 8 this time, not the usual Samsora. And then Salem with the Snake and the Hero, which there's a little bit about that. We don't have to get too much into it, but he faced against Raito. Raito being from Japan. There was some sort of projected Johns when when fans John for a player before they even say what happened or said, this or that. People are saying that Raito couldn't read the menu. This poses all these sort of problems. Raito actually said English is a universal language and said that it was his fault for not knowing. So, wow, humble brag. Then we have this top 16 with DeBuzz, Plutoni, Prodigy, Stroder, not Strokaze anymore, I know, same thing. We also had Nico with a Shulk, and then Pandarian, Raito, and Samsora. So I'm looking at all this, and I'm not seeing any repetition. I'm not seeing any patterns aside from the usual characters, right? We're used to seeing Peaches. We're used to seeing Palutenas and Foxes and Snakes, but I'm not seeing more than one in rapid succession. So this looks pretty nice. Yeah,
game rules. We're not really hitting a situation where this would be the the part of the movie. This is like the second act when people are like, huh, Joker's really good, and then everybody starts having a Joker, and then he goes in the pocket, and then Mr. R tweets, my Joker's really nice. I think I'll make him my main. And then 10 other people do it, and then there's a Joker, like, peppering top 8s. That's not happening. The game is in a very good spot. There's and even the people that are sort of going back to their old characters, Nairo Zero Suit, DeBuzz with Rosalina, these are like, and Void with Sheik even, these are highly trained specialists that mained that character for years and years. So it's not like something that you could just pick up out of nowhere. I think the game's in an incredible spot now, and I think it's one thing that we sort of need to keep in mind too is that Nintendo has balanced the game. They've put balance patches in the game, and none of it has thrown the game out of whack. So good to them for sort of keeping that a very sort of steady hand in terms of buffs, nerfs, kind of changing the metagame. It's in an amazing spot, and I'm super excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, and it's not even like we're not like repeating any talking points. It is pretty much like by and large in a very healthy spot. Yeah. I think that it's so healthy, so much so that the balance causes people to try to find things that are wrong with it and maybe put that at the top of their agenda. But
sure,
there are quality of life fixes that still, are in need. A lot of people have been talking about spot dodge canceling. Other people are downplaying its potential significance. Is it ruining tournaments? Not necessarily, but it's a mechanic. It's in the game. And so people, if they can't necessarily work around it or have difficulty with it because of character, XYZ, yeah, you're going to talk about it. But by and large, I mean, the ledge is functioning how it needs to be. Stage lists, that's community made, so it's as good or bad as we make it. And there's not really anything that's game breaking right now, set breaking. And for what it's worth, the Nintendo nerfs and buffs that you mentioned, it has been pretty nerf defined. Yeah. Patches in which Pichu has dropped, patches in which we're looking at little like changes to make them a little bit more in line with everybody else. No one's really been buffed, so I'm hoping, or at least expecting to see that sort of change in the future with some couple new patches. The Banjo patch was more of a character release, so that was a very, very subtle patch. Almost nothing changed, and if anything, it was tweaks. We haven't had like a full range character wide patch in a while, so it's probably coming up before Big House, to be honest with you, week of, because they love scheduling them that way. But in any case, Mainstage 2019, Beyond the Summit did an amazing job. Nairo did an amazing job. Some mumbles, or if anything, just subtweets as to why this tournament feels weird being an S tier because it's 273 people. Well, I mean, it's defined by the top players that were there, and it was very stacked. So don't let that take away from Nairo's win. It was an S tier through and through, and to acknowledge it as an S tier in the Hall of Fame that Nairo has acquired already in winning all these sorts of majors. So if he said it, it must be true. In any other case, Mainstage, we'll see if there's a 2020. They didn't really say anything. They didn't do one of those like trailer before grand finals saying that registration's open. So we'll see. I think for the most part, though, Coney, we're probably going to see more of Beyond the Summit, not only as a summit, which Ultimate Summit 2 is coming up, but also as a tournament series provider.
Yeah, they've been doing so they've done Shine for the past few years. Now they're doing Mainstage. I wonder if they're going to continue to just like focus on Mainstage and like maybe 1 or 2 events a year, but I feel like they're going to try to do a little bit more. But yeah, that could be the case. I mean, I'm interested to see how that goes. Yeah.
So kudos to them. Kudos to everybody else. We're going to go into the second topic now. We're keeping the tournament recaps pretty succinct.
One thing that I realized is that we probably should have, and this isn't on the agenda for today, maybe we can talk about it next week since this weekend looks pretty quiet, is the Summit stuff. So a bunch of people got into Summit just by virtue of Main Stage. And then also there's the the whole opt-in process, the nomination.
Eat an onion, all that.
Yeah, marketing, and a lot of people sort of going the route of like, I don't know, dude. It's I always laugh when the meta is like, all right, I'm gonna opt in, but I'm not gonna try. Then why opt in?
Nobody cares.
You're not gonna do it.
Nobody cares.
it kills me when somebody's like, yeah, I'm just gonna hit the button to opt in, but I don't care. If y'all want to put me in Summit, that's cool. It's not gonna happen. You care. Like, do you see the numbers? Like, Leffen was like, all right, I'm opting in. Boom, and everybody did it. And now I think he's number one. I feel like a bunch of people are just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just do it. I can understand why Tweak did it for the first one, because it did feel like
and what happened?
It felt like a snub, and he didn't get in. Wow. So, like, but that one I saw, but I feel like more people are doing it the other way now, and I'm like, what's the point? But anyway, we can talk about that next week, or we can, I don't know. But
well, I want to find out. I can't find out. Does anybody chat help us? Be useful for the first time in your lives. I'm joking. I love you. Do you have who got in? Do you know who got in from Mainstage? I think it was top 6, but I know that in there, obviously Leo was invited, so he doesn't go.
Well, Nairo, obviously.
So Nairo's the Summit, confirmed. I mean, is it just the top 8 graphic, honestly?
Yeah, so it's Leo and Tweak are, obviously, they got invited anyway. So it's
Special
Nairo.
Invite.
Yeah, Nairo, Mutace, because that was a big deal, because Mutace and Salem were supposed to play for the spot, and Salem gave it to him.
Interesting turn of events, I'll be honest. I don't know why, I don't know how, but am I thankful? I don't know. Mutace is cool, Salem is cool, but never seen something like that, honestly.
Yeah. I apparently they're really good friends. Cool. And you know, Salem has been around this block before, so I think he wanted to give it to a friend. So that totally makes sense.
Look at him.
Yeah. Chat says Mutace, T. Oh yeah, T. Good God, Pac-Man. Nairo, Mars, Light, Void. So a lot of familiar faces.
I like
in the Summit.
I like it.
It's a good spread.
So currently on the nomination side, and we'll cover this once the Summit Ultimate Domination Onion Eating Saga really starts. But yes, Leffen is in the lead with 6,291 nominations, followed by Glutoni and Samsora with 5.6k and 3k respectively. After that, Spargo in 4th, Esam in 5th, Wishes in 6th, Sandstorm in 7th, Riddles in 8th, Elegant in 9th, and then Armada, Prodigy, Arfang, DeBuzz, poor DeBuzz, really down there. Wisdom, Base Mage, never heard of these people. Lade, actually from New England, that's hype. Ozone, Puppe, Mysterica. So, okay, it's going to be a thing, I can already tell. Sure. And for those of you who don't know, Summit is this very interesting media blowout, invitational blowout style event in which, you get 16, not 16, about, how many is it? Is it 16? 12? I don't know. You get X amount of players from around the world, usually the best of the best, and then others who campaigned or got voted in via really crazy Bitcoin transactions, honestly, and make it into this really prestigious, funny, blowout sort of event. And then there's skits, there's content, there's couches where people talk. Trust me, it's amazing. And Melee popularized a lot of this with Beyond the Summit, and they're the team that started, with the whole in the house mood, and then now they got a bigger facility. It's more of like a warehouse with a studio, very cool. And then the first summit happened at the beginning of Ultimate, and it was met with pretty mixed response. I mean, there was a lot of Melee talent. Now we're shifting away from that. So Ultimate Summit 2 should be cool. The people who invited seem already cool. And I think Big House has 2 spots, am I right? And or maybe 4. And then I think there's one more or a couple more. I don't know where these invites are spread, but it probably says it on the page.
It's somewhere.
Yeah, so we'll cover that once we get there. For now, though, we're going to go into Smash Ultimate Content Creation, the state of Smash content creation. This was actually and hilariously started by this clip right here, which I won't post. Or actually, no, I will post, but I won't. Actually, I won't post. Here's the title. I can't play it. But Slime, the head honcho, one of the big dogs for Beyond the Summit, talks about Smash content and effectively says that it is not good based on the fact that people are not trying, and the way that people are trying does not meet the mark, and then the people who complain about people not trying pretty much demoralize people from, guess what, trying. So this kind of sparked a lot of discussion between Coney and I. We wanted to bring it as one of the topics for the show. So Coney, why don't you start us off? Where did this hit you? Where did it resonate? And in general, what is the state of Smash content today?
Yeah, so I caught this because I'm always interested to see how sort of the people making these events and making and producing the stuff sort of perceive their own how things go. So I caught this on the front page of Reddit. I was like, oh, let me see how this went. And just to make this clear, one, Slime has nothing to do with anything that we are about to say. Like he clarified later that he's talking specifically about Melee, and I don't know if that's because I think he feels like Ultimate's in a good spot, but a lot of what he said sort of rang a bell for me. It resonated strongly in a different way than I think he intended. So just to be clear, I don't want to make it sound like I'm piggybacking off what he said and put words in his mouth, because I'm not. I just feel a different way. But yeah, so his point was basically that, kind of like you said, is that the content in Smash is lacking because of a number of reasons. So nobody really puts everything into it, or even it doesn't even have to be everything, but it feels like anything beyond sort of a performative, like, if something doesn't take off right away, it just kind of gets washed away. Thing that always comes to my mind are, ironically, podcasts. So if you remember at the beginning of Ultimate, everybody and their mother wanted a podcast. Everybody wanted to talk about the game. Oh my god, this is going to be hype. And it felt very... I think it was pretty clear that everybody wanted to rise with the tide there, because they know a lot of people are going to come in with Ultimate. Maybe this will be the one that hit. Everybody wanted in on that gravy train right before it came in. And what happened? Well, it didn't really work out like that, because Smash podcasts aren't a thing. Smashers are notoriously, at least, again, this is just on the Ultimate side. I don't know how it is for Melee, but I think it's similar. Smashers just don't really share stuff. They won't retweet stuff. They won't really like it. So articles about us don't really hit. Videos are sometimes okay, but it's usually, if it's not funny, then it doesn't stick. Comedy is usually a lot better than storytelling, which is why the commentators do what we do. You know, I mean, that it sort of, you see it in top 8 commentary. The guys are usually making jokes and references, and that's what people like to see. And everybody criticizes them for not analyzing, but hey, who's bringing in the viewers? Anyway, basically, it feels like Smash is in a spot where it is so much better to just do your own thing and go vertical, just straight up. You're not trying to help everybody. You're not trying to sort of spread things around and build a foundation for a scene. You're trying to go right up. I have my brand. I'm playing my games. You don't even really want to just play Smash, because Smashers
don't watch Smash.
Yes, right. They don't really watch Smash, and I get it, because I don't watch it either, right? But then again, I'm a different guy. I don't have time, so I don't know if I can speak to that. But like, what you want to do is the Zero, or the Zero is the one that comes to mind. Armada, ESAM, like, these guys are doing Smash, but it's just them, if that makes sense. And I think that's sort of in opposition to people that are doing sort of like what Suar is doing, what you're doing with PG Stats, which is you're creating a base foundation for everyone to eat. So what you're doing is you create this objective, well, ideally empirical. Yes, that's a good way to put it. An empirical algorithm that determines the best 50 players. And the idea isn't just for you to get clout or for Suar to be a superstar. It is for everybody to have some objective number, hopefully, that they can point to and say, I am X number in the world, and everybody rises up, right? So I feel like there's nothing wrong with going in the vertical, because a rising tide, raises all ships. If anybody comes into Zero's YouTube, watches a video, and is like, oh, there's a competitive scene? Word? I'll check that out. That's totally fine. I'm not trying to come at Zero or anything. But I see so many people that say that they want to create content, say they love Smash, they want to do this full time. It doesn't really feel like it. It feels like you want to play video games for a living, which is fine. But that doesn't provide anything to anybody, unless you're really funny. So what do you have to do? You have to do all the back-end stuff. You have to come up with content ideas and concepts. You have to schedule stuff. You have to know SEO, because you got to get on the search engines. And I feel like people are averse to that. So what happens is somebody comes up with a podcast or something during a time where it might hit. Oh my God, this is going to be it. Everybody's going to come listen to us. And then, you get a couple hundred viewers maybe with the first wave, and then nothing happens and you end after 20 episodes. There's nothing wrong with cutting bait, but I feel like Smash is so short-sighted that there's nobody looking, 300 yards out. Nobody's trying to see what's happening at the end. Everybody's just sort of focused on right now. Which, again, is fine if you are in a position to do that, but I feel like it's going to keep all of us back in the long run because, again, we're not going to have a foundation. There's no avenues for people to sort of exceed or... Like, writers can't do anything now in Smash, really.
Writers meaning articles.
Yeah, like writers in terms of articles. But even in videos, like video long form content, people don't like that. So people that write that, people that perform that, voiceover talent. I mean, it sounds far fetched, but there's no reason that a game with the worldwide popularity that Smash has that we can't sort of create these avenues. And what it ends up doing, and sorry, I know I'm going super long, but what ends up happening is you have people that sort of have to create their own path. They have to go down their own thing, like Toasty, who's just like, oh, nobody's doing this, so I'm just going to do this. But even that doesn't... That's his own thing now, He's pushing out to everybody, which is great, but it doesn't feel like it's something that's sort of laying the brickwork for something that everybody can eat off of. Does that all make sense?
So unpacking a lot there. We talked about, or you talked about, who was making the content, what the content is, and who is consuming it. Just starting on the who, though, something to establish in Smash content, and this is similar between many different communities. I mean, I've looked at the Monster Hunter community, I've looked at the Rainbow Six Siege community, I've looked at the Quake Champions community, LOL, they're practically almost dead because of the game. They're great. But basically, there's these common themes of, like, why is content made and how it's consumed. And what's crazy is, like, I've been in bed sometimes and I'll be like, on YouTube, every single super in Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. And I'll just watch whatever it is, every single fatality in Mortal Kombat 11, and just watch. Yep. And that is one niche thing. It's content, but it's niche. Then I'm starting to build a Monster Hunter with a longsword. I want to see, like, how do I use this thing and where do I get it? And then I see these guides, and these are, like, super well-produced, like, multi-layered, like, with timestamps and table of content. And I'm like, whoa, this is content, right? And so in the Smash community, there's avenues for that, but it's difficult. I mean, there's 70-plus characters. You can do more of the generalized meta and stage, which Reefy Smash kind of does. You can do comedy like Alfred does. I mean, there's so much. But by and large, there are the players that make the content. You got a Leffen, or you got a PGR hopeful screaming into a mic on a Saturday night. You got events, which is a new interesting intersection where beyond the Smash, beyond the Summit, BTS is making skits. VGBC is making skits. They're also packaging VODs in a different way, doing highlights in a different way. They've learned, right, how YouTube kind of works. Then there's content creators proper, like we said before, like there's Alfarad, Mighty Keef, Inferno Omni. These people are making content as just that. Like, they're not a player first, they're not an event organizer, they're literally a YouTuber first, or whatever it is that it's going to be. Then there's the Kotakus, and these are pretty much organizations that have nothing to do with Smash, giving the hottest take they possibly can to get a nuclear headline, to get us to turn against each other. And they also make content, and it reflects on our scene, but they obviously are not giving at all, they're just taking. And so what I like that you mentioned is that I think that people have the model, the successful models, the Nairos, the Mangos, the Zeros, the Omnis, the Alpharads. And what Slime, I think, was really hinting at was the fact that, like, nobody cares, like Smash content isn't good because nobody cares. And it's difficult because what you mentioned for the content I create, which is bi-yearly or biannually, the PGR, like, that's something that I don't get ranked in it, and I don't get to rank friends in it the way I want or would. it just comes out with like the results. I work with tasks, I work with the team, I work with the TOs to see what's going on. And something I'll say now, and I've said it before about the PGR, is that it is a very grueling process, in and out of the seasons. And I've gotten a lot better at handling it. I put boundaries on social media. Like some kid out of Wisconsin with a, goddamn Fire Emblem's hero avatar is yelling at me about a C tier that wasn't added to the TTS, but then jokes on them. Like they didn't have the right numbers because they're reading something that was outdated. Like people are yelling, players are yelling, like everyone's yelling. But also there's a lot of good that comes out of it. But by and large, I think in the community, a lot of people get discouraged from making things because the alpha ads, the omnis, even the zeros, everybody, like they had a very long and terrible journey to even get to the point where they could throw up a stream at McDonald's and have like a fun time with their chat.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And that is hard to sort of be like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to make content. I'm a content creator. But like the thumbnails, the SEO, which you mentioned, like if you don't know what SEO stands for, then you're already so lagging in skills that to start a channel, like you need to do some reading, right? And someone in the chat mentioned our very brilliant Dunkathan Salt. Content creation is a business. And so a lot of people rail on Zero, man, for these thumbnails. I mean, just as an example right here, what are the videos that are moving viewers? What is the sort of thing that people are seeing when they literally search Smash Brothers content? I'll show you right now. Right here, we got obviously Nintendo as the first result, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, new content approaching. Second one, Alpharad. This video about Ultimate shared content. This thumbnail, I don't know what it is. It's Palutena. It says shared content, 1.4 million views 4 months ago. Beta 64 Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I guess they're like modding it to be like 64. Zero, Hank Hill and SpongeBob. I don't know what this is, but it says viewing fine art and Smash Bros. Shared content. All caps, 145,000 views. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Lost Bits, unused content debug mode. So now we have something more of like an interesting perspective given to us, 653,000 views. Zero striking again with the thumbnail. I can't even decipher it, but it's interesting. It's yelling at me. I want to click it. I'm 10 years old. So we're seeing a theme here. And the basic thing is like, this is eye-grabbing, this is click-worthy, and it's clickbaity. Clickbaity kind of in a way got like hijacked as like this negative term, but really it's just like, what is Zero talking about? What is Alpharad talking about? I'm clicking it, it's baiting the click, that's all it is. Those clicks turn into views, those views turn into ad revenue, those ad revenues turn into money these people get to put in their pocket and into more high quality things. And so what people started to realize is that, oh, this is a business, and to make it a successful business, you have to do certain things that you wouldn't do if you were in a business. And I think there are some interesting homegrown examples like a Mango, like a Nairo, where they started them as themselves and they're trying to be themselves as much as they can be, and people want that. But again, they play the same game. And if anything, they're monetizing this brand that they made as if, oh, I'm your friend. When in reality, they don't know you. They're nice people, but they don't know you, right? So it's a little bit of an awkward crossroads, because my advice to someone who was like, I want to jump into Smash content today is honestly, you're too late. Can you do reporting on site and make a YouTube series that you can like da-da-da-da? Yes, you can, but for what you want versus the time that you have to spend to get to where you want to be, it might be a little late, honestly. It's something that you'll have to work triply as hard than whatever it is that you think you might need to do. It's something that you need to... Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, sorry, continue.
It sounds defeatist, and it probably is, but I think that like for what you're seeing right now, becoming a Zero, becoming a Nairo, becoming a beefy Smash dude, becoming an Alpharad, that is a dream that is fun to have and fun to shoot for, but being realistic, that may have already happened for certain people. And it's almost like one of those things when they tell you in school, you're preparing for a job that no one's even defined yet. Exactly. Toasty wasn't trying to be an Alfred. He wasn't trying to be a Zero. He just did something that was needed. And that job, quote unquote, I mean, it is a job. He gets recruited by tournaments, hired by tournaments all the time. He talks about it freely. 2 years ago, Well, I guess he was in Smash for a while. 5 years ago, sure. Before Smash 4 even started, nobody would have imagined that. Nobody would have imagined being able to monetize creating a GIF. Nobody. And then here we are. So he did something on his own, and he made it his own thing, and people recognize it. And I think that's where people should shift towards content creation, not trying to be like what we currently have, but shooting towards like creating this new thing. I mean, Summit is an example of that. Slime and a lot of the skits he does is another example of that. No one's making skits like that. And so I think it sort of like, again, harks back to this original point, like Smash content creation, no one's trying so hard. It's difficult because like it's very discouraging. It's a long and windy road.
I disagree with the idea that, well, no. Like I think if you try to go by the existing model, the Let's Players that have bloomed into what Alpha Rad is or what Zero is, like that all started from like a friend simulator Game Grumps thing. Not all of it, obviously, but you know, like Alpha Rad was putting out sort of by the books, not by the books, they were funny, but it was like Villager 101, right? And it was just memes over gameplay. And he pivoted out of that and created a successful career outside of Smash and outside of all of this because he knew, okay, I need to get my face out there. I need to talk because before it was just memes, you know, and he created something else. And I think that's really what the challenge is that it's delivering something that people don't know what they want. Like the quote that everybody says is like, the Henry Ford quote about, you know, if I asked what people wanted, they would have said another horse and not a car, you know. There are avenues and sort of, there are verticals that Smash hasn't even touched yet, and I think there's a way to do it. And I think the onus to actually do it is on the people who purport to have this as their living, like the people who say that they're content creators and want to make this their livelihood and are ostensibly, you know, putting 40 hours a week into this. I think a lot of these people are waking up at 4 p.m. and that's not I'm not trying to be a boomer here, and I'm not trying to say like, pick yourself up by your, but it's a real thing in that I don't think it's that hard because I think a lot of people aren't working hard. And I can only imagine where we would all be if the people who want to make this their full-time thing actually put in the work of making it a full-time thing.
Yeah, and two things. One, the chat's talking about, like, for example, Snorley, welcome, from Florida. Best Wario player in the whole state, probably the whole country. I'm joking. Love you, Snorley. He says, I legitimately think that there's still content in the Smash scene that people haven't attempted to do or talk about. There's enough subjects and content that can still be done in IMO. And I'd agree. And what Coney's saying is, like, I also don't know if you want that life. Alfred has gone on record multiple times saying how distressing content creation can be in terms of, like, now, as people are also talking about in the chat, like, when people say that their favorite person sold out, right, like Zero, most famously, because he's kind of a jack of all trades right now. Like he puts up a mobile game as an ad. He's playing this game as an ad. Somehow he's given Kingdom Hearts 3 before everybody else. Like all these crazy avenues that he grinded for. I love it. Awesome. Cool. Not the original Diddy Kong main we saw. And that's fine, but a good business person also changes with the times, adapts, and predicts. Because if you're just doing what's being done now, then you're not setting a trend. You're just a part of it. So that's one thing. Two, I think that, like, yeah, if you wanted to legitimately make this a living, meaning it replaces your original form of income and becomes your main source, you're not doing it with a lifestyle in which you're getting up at 3 p.m. You're not doing it with a lifestyle in which you're complaining about the system. Like you have to understand the system's stacked against you. You're working against that the whole time. And I think that for some people who have given up, I mean, I see this like every now and then. It scares me. One, biggest sign of a bad life decision is quitting school for Smash. Second bad sign is quitting your job for YouTube. Now, people have done it. People that I love have done it. People that I don't really know have done it. But it's a big big whoopsie doopsie almost, because one, nothing ventured, nothing gained, no shame. Yo, listen, you want to quit a job because you think it's dead end, it's soul sucking, cool. But with the understanding that like what you're about to get into might not produce any fruits for many seasons, that's a jarring realization to take in before even starting a brand, let alone like a scope and sequence of like what content you're going to make. Because you can pop off with a couple of retweets because you made a meme last year, but like reoccurring content that gets watched, consumed, and also sought out, that takes a level of like coordination.
And that I'm glad that you said that, because the sought out thing I think is the important thing, because I do think that a lot of smashers, they'll see it if it comes to them. If you get the big retweet, if you get the top player sort of buy-in, that's fine. But are people going to your page and following you? Are people reading your site? Smashers have notoriously low levels of sustained engagement for that kind of stuff. If you look at the subreddit, there's very little. I mean, like the subreddit is obviously a small piece of it, but the replay function on the Switch, one of the worst things to happen to the subreddit for us, not for everybody. Of course, I'm not speaking. I'm sure people have a lot of fun watching clips of Ganon's forward smashing somebody at 40, like that. That's fine, and the subreddit belongs to everybody. It's sort of a communal thing. It's not strictly competitive. It's not strictly casual. So I'm not trying to come at people with that. But the top clips on the subreddit consistently over the past few months have been like, yo, I've read this man's life out of his brain. It's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I stage spiked him with a neutral air. Like, it's... Yeah, and you know, that person gets to post that and they get to feel good, and I get it, because like that person, that is the extent of their competitive experience, and that's not a shot. Again, that's like, oh cool, I did this cool thing, everybody, isn't this cool? And everybody's like, yeah, that's really cool. But that is the exact level of buy-in that most of these smashers have, and until you can get those people to buy in, you're not going to make Smash your life. You're not going to be a full-time content creator, because this is the same thing at its core, at a different level, but at the core, it's the same reason why people play friendlies instead of watching top 8s at majors.
Yeah,
that's a
hard truth.
That's a cultural thing, because if you watch other games, that doesn't happen. And again, I'm not telling you to turn off the setup, because I think people should do what they want, but it's a cultural thing that smashers just want to stay in their own lane. And that's probably why you have so many instances of smashers just doing their own thing and growing upward, because they put in a lot of goddamn work to do it. But your challenge, if you want to make this your full-time, if you're trying to be a content creator, you have to find the way to get buy-in from those people. And I don't know how to do it, if I'm being honest. I mean, like, if you think of the meteoric rises in Smash, you know, obviously like Alfred, Zero, Ludwig is the most recent one. He's not really a Smash guy anymore, you know? He just worked really hard and he became a content guy. I feel like that's sort of the easier way to do it. Not that it's easy, because, you know, that's clearly very difficult and grueling, but that is focused on the self. That's a silo that you get to build, as opposed to trying to benefit Smash as a whole, which a lot of people, I think, say they want to do, but either don't have the long-term vision or the discipline to execute. I hope that all came out right, because
it parallels music and what you were talking about. Subreddit, it's the top 40. And listen, like, even though Old Town Road like slaps and it's 4 different remixes, people don't care about what they don't know. So someone mentioned in the chat, like, yeah, like basic play, 10k upvotes compared to T slapping Glutoni with rarely seen pack combo, 2k upvotes. People don't know what a T is or what a Glutoni is if they have never watched a tournament. And even then, they don't even know what to make of that in lieu of everything else that they're exposed to in their day-to-day, which is some casual Smash on the Switch, Twitter that probably isn't Smash, and YouTube that is probably not even mostly Smash. Like, we we have to understand that we are so far into the corner of Smash that like we try to see meaning in things that don't even have meaning, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so to us, it's like, how can you not care about this amazing, undisputed Pac-Man main from Japan?
Did you not see how he conditioned the get-up attack so he could hit him with the roll into the back throw? How did you not see the level of condition? No, they don't.
And that,
they know who Ganondorf is. They want to see Ganondorf.
And that is the 40th measure on a half-note rest for a Tchaikovsky piece. That's where we're at, dude. Like, we're trying to like talk about classical music and its different nuances. Somebody wants to just hear Old Town Road. And I think the real key is realizing that, not content shaming, not interest shaming, but somehow leveraging it. And I think Alfred is one of the key people who, in a way, has taken this momentum of like, in a way, normie culture and put it into something really crazy and positive where he knows both worlds and he navigates both of them expertly, where he can hang with the Smash people because he also knows what he's talking about, but then he's also making fun of competitive play by hosting an entire CPU tournament and commentating it, which on paper, stupid. Why would that work? But it's also one of his most successful series, and that's like, again, like turning everything on its head. So by and large, there's many different people that can make content, from organizations to people.
And not just that, sorry to interrupt you, but also he's doing this stuff at events, like the Frostbite thing.
Oh yeah.
And like he's finding a way to bridge the gap. And that thing that we did at Frostbite, the casual invitational, god damn, that has a lot of views. And I think that sort of proves that there's a market for that. I think if somebody, not to say that Alfred isn't a part of the scene, but if somebody endemic that came up, you know, one of the OGs that says they've been here forever, if one of them did that, they could make it work, but they don't want to sort of risk on that, you know? And I think Alfred comes in from a different world, and he eats that lunch because he's so good at it. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes hand in hand. Again, many people can make content, many different orgs. Two, if you're making something somebody already makes, unless you're blasting it out of the water with something better, it's not exactly... it's not gonna, like, you're not reinventing the wheel here. And three, like, you might not want that life. Listen, because like once you do get it, once you got everything, you want it the way you have it, and like fans and this and that and boom, notifications 99 at all times. One, it's lonely, I'll tell you that. I've heard from experience, I've seen from experience. And also, now you're pleasing people you don't even know for reasons you don't even understand yet, right? Because you're trying to follow this invisible mark. But yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, listen, not to get dark, but like Etika very much highlighted a lot of these struggles that he was having. And even though he's like the super popular guy, he's just like, you know, people just want, do the reaction, do it right now, do the thing. And it's like, then people start to see you as like a caged monkey. They start to see you as like an entertainment point. And that's maybe something you don't want. If you love the limelight, if you love that sort of stuff, that's something that maybe appeals to you. But again, like, these people who have made it seem sort of seamless, there are many sleepless nights, and there's even more that they've probably spent like really, really dark places. And even now, like Leffen, like, he's not only alluded, but he's also mentioned pretty explicitly how like it's tiring, like the attention is tiring. So content creation, it's going to create conditions and like complexes that we're probably going to define in psychology in the next coming decades, but it's like real
it's going into
thing.
DSM.
It's a real thing that's really weird. Influencers, like, you're getting paid to say and act in a certain way, and then
parasocial relationships.
If you get really real, and then what are real relationships? Who's talking to you and why? Is it for money? Is it for connections? It's a wild thing. So hopefully that paints a better, clearer picture as to why maybe your Let's Play Smash Tour isn't working. Or maybe now you know exactly what you need to do. Hopefully one of those or more has been accomplished. This part of the show, though, since we're now nearing the end at the top of the hour, we're going to open up to Q&A. So final point.
One last thing. I know I don't want to belabor it. One last thing that's kind of a peeve of mine that's sort of an offshoot sort of like a fun size little bit thing. If you're looking to get into something and you're like, hey, I want to become a content creator, any tips? I want to become a top player, any tips? I want to become a commentator, any tips? You can't.
You need a specific question for a specific answer.
You can't go to a chef and be like, I want to cook stuff, any tips? Go to the store and buy food. Like, I want to be a commentator, any tips? Put on a headset and talk. It's if you want to do that, there's nothing wrong with that, and I think a lot of people would be happy to help you, and we don't want to sound rude. Like, we don't want to be a jerk about it, but we hear that question so much from people who it just seems like
Hopefuls.
You don't have any, it's
like I tell my students, right? Because it's a lack of critical thinking. Specific questions get specific answers. So, like, I don't get the homework. It's like, well, what don't you get? I mean, there's certain parts of it you certainly understand. You could read the directions, but there's a point in which you couldn't do something. What was that point? It wasn't the whole homework. It was one thing. And so, like, yeah, I mean, for content creation, like, how do I break into it? For commentary, how do I break into it? Like, I mean, one, if you're asking that, you're probably too late. And two, ask yourself that question first and realize that answer is, it's like, how do I make money? It's like, there's so many different ways. There's so many different things. How do I get a job? There's so many things you have to do and know. Specifically, if you want to be a marine biologist or you want to sell newspapers, there's a different set of skills, a different field. So hopefully we get some of those questions today in the Q&A. Great segment on the state of Smash content. It probably applies to most content communities right now. I mean, like I said, I think the coolest part is like being so into Smash. I think I broke away when I started playing Street Fighter about almost 2 years ago. Is like when you start to look online at other communities and you start to see, oh, not only do they have their drama, but they also have their like counterparts, right? They have their streams, they have their DLC reveals, they have their guides, and like it's interesting when you see that elsewhere, how in Smash it's like so hyper focused and people don't think anything else exists. It's just Smash.
No, that's a good point. Yeah,
and that's where you start to broaden your horizons and realize, like, oh, other people have the same troubles, other people have the same things. Mortal Kombat, right?
That happened to us in Mortal Kombat. We talked about that on the show. Like, I was getting into Mortal Kombat. I was like, how do I even, like, what defines a good character? I have no idea. Watch all fatalities. Like, all brutalities. You know what I mean? Like, I'm mad casual. And in Smash, we're constantly thinking of, like, the intermediate to advanced player. That's why I really loved, again, to go off on a tangent, that's why I really loved Cosmos' Inkling Guide, because it was pretty fundamental and basic. It had some good stuff in there, don't get me wrong, but it was very focused on sort of the 101.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great for that reason.
No, it's amazing. Like, I think people, like, get frustrated, Smash content sucks. That's not the message of today. One, like the chat brought up, there is content that has still not been made that people will likely love. There's also content that is currently being made, but it might not be appealing to you because you think, oh, I'm too good for that. No, you're not too good for anything. It's like people on the internet being funny. Like, join in, right? Or don't. And three, like, the content sometimes makes itself. And it's, like, organic. And, like, if you try to, like, bottle lightning, like, it just won't work. So we're going to jump into Q&A now. Hit us up with your questions in the live chat.
Sorry we talked so long about that stuff, but I think this is very interesting. It's the constant problem.
It evolves. We'll probably talk about it again in a year.
Yeah.
So, this part of the show, Q&A, the Twitch chat, the Poggers and the Pepes, everybody, they ask us questions that we choose that we choose to read.
That's my favorite emote. I love it.
Oh my god, I hate them all. No, I love them all. But not when you start saying them in real life, because then that's a problem. But we're gonna read up a couple. If you ask a question that's rude, it'll probably get read. If you ask a question that's too rude, it probably will get ignored. So here's one by Blake Beats. Panda Global, thoughts on Salem not fist bumping Armada at the end of their set? Let's go.
Okay,
my body, my choice. First of all, and second of all, Salem can do what he wants. Honestly, that's it. As far as I go,
Salem can do what he wants. Armada is, I think Salem
a pillar of Smash.
Yeah. So one of the funny things is that so Salem clearly feels some type of way about
of course,
the simmering resentment that sort of still lies between Melee and Ultimate. It's still there. Ultimate and Brawlheads have a chip on their shoulder, however slight. Seriously. I think a lot of them do. They still carry a little bit. It's not crazy, and I think reparations, I almost said. I think relations are much better now, but I think Salem is like... So one of the things that somebody pointed out, ironically, in a Reddit thread that I thought was really interesting, is that... So everybody says that Armada is this, pillar of truth and justice and righteousness, and honestly, he does make his points in a very even, level-headed, calm way. But there were instances of, Leffen totally shitting all over the Ultimate community, and then Salem would defend them, and Armada was like, wow, I can't believe, Salem, you would try to blow the communities apart, when that's what Leffen does. And I think Leffen's great for it, don't get me wrong. I think he should do that, because I think you need somebody to poke the bear. But it felt like Armada was he was like a Homelander. He was holding up for his buddy on the other side, Leffen, one of his good friends, and just sort of hand-waving away anything Salem's. So I don't know if that's where it came from, but I thought that was a really interesting comment that somebody made.
Yeah, he's not as good as you think, and he's not, don't meet your hero sort of thing. I can vibe with that. However, what I will say, on top of it being Salem's decision, it does not deserve anything related to physical threats or...
Oh, God, yeah.
Holy commendation. That is just... Dude, it is a... Listen... In sports, all the time, people... I mean, he didn't spit in his face. I mean, that's a whole... That's violence, actually. No joke. That is violence. He didn't fist bump him. He chose to just be in himself. Cool. But, in sports, all the time, there's, the no handshake or the throwing of the bat or the whatever, the helmet. That was a moment. That's as crazy as it gets in esports, which is funny. It's I'm gonna slam my mouse, right? But it's that's it, right? And so the Smash community on one hand will be posting the same FGC clip we've seen time and time again, where it's Smashers will never get in each other's faces like this. Then one guy didn't fist bump someone on a stage, and we got people complaining. Oh my god, you can't have it both ways. So power to Salem. Want to be rude and own it. He did. And if he didn't fist bump him, that was that. So that's it for that question. Unless you want to add another point, but we got to.
Well, no, I think the telling thing is Armada didn't care. Armada was like, "Damn, that was kind of messed up." Anyway, and then he went on throughout his day. Armada isn't gonna get ruffled by that, and neither should you.
Yeah, and there was also other popular examples. I think HBox and Leffen, right? There's been a bunch of, and I think it's okay, there's some backstory, okay, and that there's a lot. There's stuff we know, stuff we don't know, and Salem for a course of a week. And now, even today, is the butt of many jokes. So, I would be fed up too. I wouldn't butt anything with a Melee player at that point. But again, I also didn't... Well, that's another story. But I didn't go against an entire community by myself. Which, Salem, I mean, you're brave. So, thank you for that question. Going into Legorin. I hope I said your name right. Or Legorhin. Panda Global, have you heard about the Nintendo France tournament that is banning Hero, non-default Mii's, and every stage but FD and Battlefield? Oh my god.
I only heard about the hero thing, and I think that is interesting because, okay, so...
They didn't say why.
They didn't say why. I assume it's because, if this is in France,
the language.
Maybe this is stupid, but, I mean, it's a language thing, obviously, but, Europe's much tighter. This would be if North Carolina and South Carolina were countries, but they spoke different languages, and somebody from North Carolina wanted to go to South Carolina to go to a tournament, but then they couldn't read the game. I feel like that might
they
be...
can read to start off. Sorry, bad joke.
Yeah,
Anyways, go on.
Yeah.
I love South Carolina.
It's I think it's a different sort of thing. I think that's a really interesting... I think it's an interesting thing to look at and sort of an anomaly to go, okay. But I don't think it's indicative of
anything
at all, because you got to keep in mind also, Nintendo Japan is different from Nintendo Europe, is different from Nintendo NA. Nintendo, they are such separate entities that I don't want people to look at this France one and be like, oh, there it is, Nintendo hates Hero.
Boom.
No, it's that.
Put it in the rule book. No, listen, I saw people extrapolating this. And it was for the first time, Nintendo was the monolith of competitive integrity and information that we've never had in the scene before.
Because it fit what they wanted to have happen.
Confirmation bias when every single time before for Nintendo Opens, online qualifiers, or any time a Nintendo's at an event, it's a slap and a total spit on them, or spat, when it comes to like how they're supporting us, how they're doing that, and the one time they're alike to what you think, you're gonna think that, no, I'm sorry, that was the biggest joke I have ever seen in a long while. They didn't even explain why. There is no extrapolation to be made. They banned a character likely on a technicality having to do with language, and also they have FD in Battlefield. So are we going to cherry pick? Are we going to say that, oh, well, Nintendo did it, this is the standard for competitive integrity, they didn't choose Town and City, Lilat, or Kalos, so boom, FD and BF for Big House, how we doing? No, like, stop. Next question. Virum, coming in from London. What's up? Which personalities, whether they be players, content creators, commentators, etc., would you like to see at Ultimate Summit 2?
Leffen first. I think Leffen's fantastic. I think he's perfect for that. One of my favorite things I've ever seen Leffen do is tell the couch to shut the hell up during the first summit, where everybody's like, "Dag, my SOD, my dag." And Leffen's like, "Why are you guys doing that? Shut up, stop." And everybody stopped.
Leffen is somehow the only adult in the room sometimes.
It's insane.
In a room full of adults.
I know. Grown men, he's one of the youngest. He's kind of
mature in an immature way, if that makes sense.
I think he keeps a lot of people honest. I do think he has a way of doing that. So I need him there for sure. Samsora is the most naturally funny person.
He has. I think in Smash
without trying.
Staple.
Like he's so funny. He had the best skit last year, hands down. I want him there.
We match.
Yeah, you did match.
Synergy match. There you go. That's my Nana.
Samsora is fantastic.
Caster though. Hit me with the casters you want to see.
A caster? I mean, I would really like to have Keitaro there, because I think he would fit that vibe perfectly. I think Keitaro is one of the. I think he's naturally really funny, and I honestly, if I'm going by my preference, I honestly feel like Keitaro on commentary is less interesting or funny than he is just on his own. And I totally vibe with that, because I feel that myself. Like, I feel like I can't just be myself. But I feel like if you just give him the mic, like the times that we see him on Nairo's stream or something, I think that'd be perfect for him on the couch, especially with 4 other people. I think I would really like to see him on that.
I'd like Keitaro. Personally, caster-wise, I know you're not asking for me to say this, but you're a given. I'd like to see. Whoosh.
I wasn't at the first one. I don't know.
Oh my god, get out of here. I'd like to see Coney. No, I don't know. I'd like to see. I really don't know. Smash is moving so fast. There's just so many things all the time.
The problem is it's really hard, because it's like, do you like TK's going?
There's at least a lot of the quote unquote belonging ones.
Yeah.
Someone I enjoy. I'm trying to think. I really don't know. Player wise, I want to see. I'll see Waddy. I want to see Waddy player wise.
Really?
He's a chill one. I can appreciate it.
Okay.
Neutral pick. He's more of a neutral. He's the ZD of this season if he gets on.
I feel that. Hope he doesn't go with 13. But
stop.
Yeah.
You said that, not me. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just not really attached to anybody that isn't already going. Mars is already going. Light is already going. Void's already going.
I'm excited for T. I'm very excited to see T.
That's gonna be.
Pac-Man is so
he could win. Honestly, he could win. Yeah. Because it's like the most controlled setting imaginable. It's like what usually keeps T from getting that is the fact that he has to go through an entire tournament. Now this is the top cut of the tournament, so he can just do whatever he wants. But
that's a good point. Yeah.
We'll come to that question later, because I'm sure the nominations and everything will be covered in an episode coming up. Electro Brr, maybe not. It's a Palutena question. I don't feel like answering it.
We talked about that too.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we did.
I saw a good question.
Okay, read it.
Alright, so Washed Up 08 said, what content would you want to create, screenshots, guides, etc., whatever, if it was as easy as a snap of the finger? I've thought about this. Sorry, my dog's showing up. I've thought about this a lot. I am a fan. I'm a huge fan of awful popcorn top 10 lists and mindless, terrible content. And so is he. He loves it. I love that stuff. Like the Watch Mojos.
Who did you mention?
So what?
Who did you mention? He loves that stuff? Who are you talking about?
He loves that stuff. My little boy. Oh, you can't see him because you don't have the cam on. This is my boy.
A dog.
Boy.
Okay,
It's
go
my
on.
boy. He loves it. He loves Smash content. He does. All right.
This is a
All right,
dog-positive show. Please spam dogs in the chat.
It's my buddy. I love that sort of bullshit 10-minute wasting, like, top 10 foxes of all time. Number 10, Silent Wolf. Like, that kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? Just time waster. Put it on while doing the dishes. I've had all these ideas of doing that kind of Smash stuff. Because you don't answer to anybody. I could put Larry as the number 6 best fox of all time. People are like, what are you doing?
Absurdist content. I will say, like,
Right.
the Adult Swim-esque, slime-esque, talk like you know what you're talking about and just, like, be false, like, or misinformed.
I don't even really mean that, because I feel like that's its own thing, and that's another idea that I've had. But I mean, like, it's not even a joke. You just don't explain yourself. It's just, okay, it's almost like GR Smash, but with more sort of structure.
GR Smash or trash?
GR Smash.
Okay, because there's a
So
huge
it's like,
difference.
because GR Smash has like the 10 biggest reads of all time, and it's just clips. But like the 10 biggest reads of all time. No structure, no way to actually rank this, no criteria. You just put 10 clips together and talk about it on top of it. Very easy to make.
They don't talk, actually.
Infinitely, well, on like Watch Mojo and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like on Looper, stuff like that. I mean, just totally garbage, time-wasting content. I think that would be perfect, and I think it's a great way to bridge the casual and competitive communities. Problem is, I don't have time. The other idea that I had was almost like a weekly wrap-up, almost like a John Oliver Last Week Tonight kind of deal. But the problem was, Beefy Smash dudes tried that, and it didn't really go anywhere. And that's not their fault, but they tried it, and like explain tournament results and stuff that happened on Twitter in the community or the culture.
Good point.
And yeah, nothing happened, and they're like, all right, well, we can't keep doing this because we're wasting our time. So
And that's the hard part about content. The higher quality, the more time, the more resources, and then
Yeah.
it's like it was polished. They had a green screen, right? Bare minimums of studio content creation, but it's like, well, I could watch Kirby walking across the stage with its mouth full to 10 different songs.
Joker shooting his gun to this BPM.
40,000 retweets. Love
Yep.
it. One that I would like, that's not a snap of a finger, but how to go to a tournament. Honestly, like from start to finish, what that's
Yep.
like. Vlog-esque in a way, but like how to go to a tournament. How to find a setup. Shaking someone's hand. It could be done a little bit slapstick, but I think that could be content. Because like by and large, we just assume, when we're like, there's a tournament this weekend. All these sets of norms. What time to wake up. What to eat. Where to be. What to bring.
Yes.
It's just known, but like some people are like, what? And so that could be a cool way to bridge it. Getting to these questions though, because we are now at an hour 12. We'll take 2 more. So, we have.
I have
let's
one more
see.
content idea. I'm going to say it while you think of a question.
Do it.
While you find one. Okay, you guys can have this if you can do it. I had an idea where you sit down with a top player or personality and you play 50 stocks and you just bullshit the whole time. You're just talking with them, past tournament stories, like, oh, did you know the character could do this? Blah, blah, blah. It's just 50 stocks of that. I think that's a killer idea. If you have the relationships to do it with players and figureheads, do that, because I really think people would watch. Anyway, sorry.
Try it. Someone write it down. I like this question. Galaxian God. Panda Global. Hello, new guy to the stream. Welcome, Galaxian. An aspiring Smash player. They did not specify casual or pro. What's your advice to balancing real life, in parentheses, college classes and part-time job with Smash and competitive Pokemon? VGC or TCG? Didn't specify either. And how do you recommend a broke person saving up to getting to tourneys, like getting affordable flights? Well, Galaxian God, welcome, but you did not specify casual or pro. Because pro, at this point, I'll say you could write that off, because to be real, to be honest, if you're aspiring, that means you're trying to get somewhere versus being there already. A lot of the people who are balancing things like you're talking about that are pro players, people like Samsora, etc., A lot of natural talent. So unless we haven't heard of you and you're a god, really hard. Okay, but not to say all hope is lost. If you want to be a good mid-level, upper-level casual player / competitive player, there's a couple ways to do it, and it mostly revolves around like the discipline you want to set out for yourself. Smash is literally as simple as more time in the game, more time being good. That's it. And obviously the way you train, if you're training mindfully, that's going to matter. So 10 hours of just slamming your buttons will not be as effective as 1 hour practicing ledge traps. But again, you have to give a lot of time. Locals can't be the only way you practice, and even though there are people like Pink Fresh, when I remember, that just use locals as practice, they're just amazing at the game to begin with. But realize that you'll have to set aside a lot of time to practice and travel. And I would say start local, get on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media platform you have. Try to find on YouTube VODs of regions that you're in that are hosting locals and just start going there. Then when they have a monthly, go to that monthly. If you get cream, cool, whatever, you win, awesome. Then look at your super regional, something you're gonna have to drive to, take a bus to, an hour or 3 away, and see what it's like, see if you like it. And I would recommend doing all that before you try flying to a major event. Unless it's a SmashCon, or you know it's a tournament that has like a lot of casual appeal, because if you're aspiring, then it also means that you're gonna be losing a lot. And I'll tell you right now, if you lose at a tournament that has nothing for you to do after that, it's a huge bummer. So,
well, if it's in your area too, like if you're in Detroit and Big House is there, make an exception.
Oh, by all means, sure.
Because like you want to go to the super regional. If you live in like Kentucky, don't fly to SoCal. But if you live in SoCal and they have, or if you live in NorCal and they have Genesis, hell yeah, go there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing. It's like, do what's cost effective. Like, don't forego a nice trip with your boys over going to a Smash tournament, unless that's what you really want. But at the same time, like, cost benefit analysis, if I'm gonna go to this, like, you're not gonna win. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. It's not even a knock against you. It's like there's 500 people competing, top 8 spots get the money, top 3 spots get actual expendable cash. Like, being real, like cost benefit analysis, what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, it's up to you. But I would say go to your locals, cultivate as much as you can there, try those regionals and then those monthlies, and then if you got a big house in your backyard or a SmashCon, do that. In terms of flights, Skip Lagged is my favorite site. They offer a ton of flights that sometimes slip through the cracks of other sites, and I've gotten like 180 round trip to Cali just doing that. It's also just kind of random because flights are toxic. And search in incognito mode if you want to find something that is cheap.
I live for Skip Lagged.
Yeah,
as somebody that travels a lot, I actually just booked my itinerary for the third Thunder Smash because they gave me an itinerary. I was like, no, that sucks, and I went on Skip Lagged and found something that was more time effective and cheaper. Skip Lagged is excellent.
Yeah, so Skip Lagged. SKIPPEDLAG.
No, it's just Skip.
Oh, Skip then. My bad. Skip Lag. This is now
fake
podcast sponsored, but no, I'm joking. But yeah, do that and search in incognito. Other than that, listen, it's a long grind. It's really the friends you make along the way that are going to matter. And if you want to get good and do all that, cool. But realize that that's also a lifestyle. So get ready for that. Final question. A lot of good ones tonight.
It was a good episode. I really like this episode.
Yeah.
Went a little long, but I think we had a lot of good stuff to talk.
Sam Dodongo. This name, I swear to God. Do you think Leffen will get into Summit easy, like Mango, or will he have a tough time? I don't know. It's weird. It's like everyone wants to hate Leffen, but it's like he's still amazing.
I think Leffen's in, period.
I think he's in,
the reason is
he's also leading.
He's leading. 2, he has the continent buff because all of Europe is going to push for him, and 2, he has the melee buff because all of melee is going to push for him because they want him to conquer us.
What a funny place to be in that Venn diagram.
Yeah, like, he checks all the boxes, and you've got the vote sort of split probably for him and Gluttony, right? Because Gluttony is also from Europe. He's French, but he went to the first one, and Leffen went to the first one. But I think people might look at Gluttony and be like, okay, well, he went to the first one, he's not really a personality, and that's not his fault because he speaks
serious.
French. Like, it's
serious,
yeah, and he's a serious guy too. It's not
Kinda
his
like a
fault.
Como.
Like,
yeah,
he's a competitor. But I think Leffen will. I think it's going to be easy for him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and honestly, like, he is very unique, and then he's also got that trainer bit. I think he'll make it pretty simple, honestly. I don't even know when the first wave goes, but he's literally in the lead right now by thousands of votes ahead, and everybody else is struggling to even break 1,000.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I think that's going to do it. We're going to close it right there. We hit an hour 19, which is really an hour 15 due to the initial musical break. But yeah, Smashcenter 38, Coney, any final words before I close the show?
Thanks for sticking around, fellas. And thank you for sticking around for how long the show was. I know we went an extra like half hour, but a lot of impassioned topics, a lot of things to talk about. I guess we'll talk about Summit stuff and Big House roundups next week. But for now, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Coney on Twitch and Twitter. You guys know all that stuff.
Oh, sleepy. Cool. All right, Coney, thank you. We'll catch you next time. So,
see ya.
For everybody else, that was it. That was the 38th episode. Thanks for being here with us. And I want to just quickly highlight any upcoming events, making sure that I'm doing my job as the director for Panda Global Statistics. Umabura SP5, look at that. The 28th of September. It has hit A tier, and it's happening this weekend. Japanese tournament. Love it. We also got Rev Major 2019 in the Philippines and Super Smash Fest in NorCal. Both of those tournaments are C tiers respectively. So if you actually look at the tournament tier system, it spells something funny. I'm not going to say what it is. But Big House is coming up the 6th of October. That's going to be the 4, 5, and 6. So it's the 4th through the 6th of October. Big House 9 is an S tier. It's been confirmed. Get your glitch jokes out of your system now. Nobody cares. You're a sad individual. I'm joking. It's fine. But it is an S tier. There's literally over, I think it's public or not, but there's many people going. I don't know if they've announced that. I want to give it away. Many people going on top of many PGR players going. So it's already rated as S. And then we got a couple tournaments also coming up, like the Thunder Smash 3, Smash Ultimate Summit 2 later in October, Syndicate 2019 27th of October, DreamHack Atlanta 2019 in November, and also I think probably ending the season, wow, we're so close, is going to be the 2GG Congo Saga. Not a lot of details on that. We have a couple PGR players confirmed. As of now, it sits as an A, so I wouldn't be surprised if it bumped up to S by the time we got there. We have Smash Ultimate Summit 2, actually also rated as an A tier. That'll be interesting. And Thunder Smash also looking like an A tier. UFA, I want to shout these guys out. Ultimate Fighting Arena 2019 happening in Europe is also an A tier. That is happening also during the time of Big House. They've been working really hard. They've been in contact with me. And they have over 400 people, close to 500 people attending this tournament. So shout outs to them. It's an A tier in Europe. Pretty much the end of the season is looking like SAAA, BSAAC. Cool. So in any case, that was Smashcenter 38. Next week we come with a new episode with new things to talk about. If you feel like we missed something and you feel like we didn't get to talk about something you wanted to hear, hit me up in the DMs. I'm at PG_suar. And if you wanted to tag PG Stats in anything because you want us to look at a tournament, or you want us to hype something up, or consider it for the PGR because it's not on the TTS, then tag at PG Stats. We got rid of the. That's the power of clout. So at PG Stats is where you can find us, at PG_suar. And for everybody else, just, the whole deal. When I say at the end of every show, tell someone you love them, and make sure you keep people close. You never know. And we'll be seeing you. It'll be a good time. And I hope everybody has a nice week as we head into the end of September and the beginning of October. So, pumpkin spice season's in full effect. See you all, and good night.